the funny thing is, I didn't know who Rob Black was. I had no idea there was any porn ties until my first day showing up for training with the guys. We're about to walk in, and Carlos tells me, "Oh, hey, yeah, just so you know, they shoot adult movies here." And and then he said, he said, and he goes, "I think the owner's Jewish too, so don't make any Jewish jokes." And I was like, "I don't make Jewish jokes." It's like, okay, okay, fine. I didn't matter to me anyway. I don't do that anyway.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so walked in, and it wasn't like there was all this porn stuff or anything. I didn't. It didn't. Yeah, when you walked in, nothing told me that this was an adult film company. It was just this, office, this hole in the wall in the valley, and went in there, and I was like, hey, there was Dynamite D, and I'm, hey, what's up, guys? Hey, what's going on? Saying hello to them. And
Yeah.
in fact, the week before they had done a show, I actually paid to go to the show. I don't think I've ever told anybody this because I
Oh,
always
really?
forget it. I paid to go to the show. I just went to the show and stood in line with everybody and watched the show. And I was like, oh, watched it. And then when the show was done, I waited and I saw Dynamite D, and he goes, hey, what's up? I'm like, and we're talking and everything. Cause I think Carlos might have debuted that night. I can't remember. And then the following week or the following Tuesday, because XPW the wrestlers used to meet on Tuesdays. I showed up at the Tuesday meeting where we would train and everything, and trained, and we were out there just doing stuff. And I knew a lot of the guys, or I was familiar with a lot of the guys. And then I saw Chaos and Supreme again, and I hadn't seen those guys since the couple of shows that I had done for the One Fed. And we were talking, we started training, and then I knew I had met Kevin Kleinrock, who was like the VP of XPW. Kevin was there. Kevin was actually a guy who went to Slammers to try to learn the business, but Vern wouldn't teach him anything. He was kayfabing him on the whole thing. So Kevin left Slammers, but he came by a couple times, and I talked to him, and it was a nice guy. And after the training, they had a big meeting, and I wasn't going to go into the meeting. And if I remember right, I think D, I don't know if it was D, but Kevin and White Trash Johnny Webb were like, yeah, come on, come into the meeting. It's like, oh, okay. So I just sit down in the meeting. All the chairs are taken, so I'm just squatting like up front. And Rob sits down, and Rob, everyone's talking, and he basically like tells everybody, shut the F up. And then he looks straight at me and goes, who the F are you? And I was like, I'm Billy. I've wrestled with these guys. And Johnny Webb looked at Rob and said, no, he's good. He's solid. He's good. Because I didn't know at the time, but Webb was working for the adult film company side doing editing. So
Yeah, right.
he had Rob's ear. And basically that's how my journey into XPW started. It was that simple. And then the guys told me that they were going to come the next day after that Tuesday meeting. They were going to come on that Wednesday and train. I showed up, and nobody showed up. I think Jasmine St. Clair was shooting a scene, so a bunch of the boys went to go watch her shoot the scene or something like that. And I just stayed there, and I hadn't been in a wrestling ring in over a year. So I was just in there beating the crap out of myself, making myself bump, running myself in the corner, running the ropes and everything, just getting acclimated to the whole ring again. And every now and then Rob would, because his office was right next to where the ring was, he would peek his head out, look, wouldn't say anything. And that was that. I was there probably for like 2 hours, left, showed up at the next meeting the following week. And right after we all trained, went into the office, and Rob sits down and he goes, all right, hey, where were all you guys last week? All you guys were supposed to be here to train. The only one that was here was this guy, and he was beating the crap out of himself. And that was it. It was that simple. I think they were having because they were doing monthly shows, and they were going to do a battle royal, and they needed bodies for the battle royal. And I was like, hey, if you guys need a body, I'll do it. I was just happy to be there. And they made the decision right then and there. They're like, no. Yeah, we can use him, but we need to put a mask on him. We don't want to waste him just yet. Put a mask on him. It's like, okay. And that's how I got that stupid blue mask on me and the lunatic gimmick. Hey, that was a total rib. That was just it was a blue mask. If it was a pink mask, I would have been the Pinkatic or something, or the Redditic. There was no thought put behind it whatsoever.
One of the things we just have a comment up here from Stephen Robinson, better known as Corporal Robinson. Billy's one of the best guys I feuded with in the CZW angle.
Oh, Corp is great. Yeah,
I love Corp. I had him on the show about a week or two ago, and he's an awesome dude. He was just a very easy guy to talk to, much like yourself. So obviously working in the XP for XPW and being the Blunatic, when did the whole Messiah gimmick come out? Like, I understand that the original, and correct me if I'm wrong, the original thought to call you was Jesus, and when that was presented to you, you were like, "Fuck that!" That's not
I'm not doing that. No way. Originally, they wanted they put me under the mask, and that was essentially just a placeholder until they could figure out something for me. And when I was in Slammers, like my gimmick was Iron Mike Earhart, the All-American boy. And I was told I could never be a heel because I had too much of a baby face. And in XPW, and this is when wrestling was kind of, I always hate saying the Attitude Era or whatever. It's just so stupid, but it was right around there where you couldn't be a white mean baby face anymore. People, they hated that. People hated that. They wanted to see the good guy just get his head taken off and get the crap kicked out of him. And that was heavily influenced, I think, with ECW, because ECW, you couldn't do that in ECW. And I ended up with Rob. Originally I was going to be in a tag team called the Moral Crusaders, Luke and Matthew. We were supposed to be like these Bible-thumping brothers that would
like Luke Hawks. They did that later on.
Yeah, they repackaged it with Luke. Yeah, with Luke Hawks. But we were supposed to be these guys who preached against XPW, against the sex and the violence and blah blah blah. But we would cheat. We would cheat to win. And after a couple months, of me doing the Blunatic thing, I ended up. I was getting sick and tired of Nicole Bass dropping me on my head. I just hated it. And I had a meeting with Rob and said, "Hey, I'd like to do the Moral Crusader thing as a singles. We'll do it as a singles." Because they had a guy in mind to be my tag partner, but then the guy just fell off the face of the earth. No one could ever find him. No one knew whatever happened to him. So the Moral Crusader tag team was kind of on hold. And I just said, let me do it as a singles. And then once someone comes that can fit the bill or that could be paired with me, then you have your tag team. And I've already established it. And Rob was just like, okay. And in the meeting, it was, I think Johnny Webb was there, Supreme was there, and Kevin Kleinrock was there. And Rob was like, kind of hesitant about it. And I think it was Supreme or Johnny Webb, just like, let the guy try it. Jeez, just let him try. What's the harm in it? And Rob's like, well, no, if I really want to push this, if this is a good character, if this really works, I really want to push it. Essentially, he didn't want to waste it just because I didn't want to be, the Blunatic anymore. And he essentially looked at me and said, all right, I'll give you this shot. You get one shot. But if you F it up, that's it. I was like, okay, fine. And then as far as I knew, I was going to be Luke, the Moral Crusader. That was going to be my name. And then the next week, I'm sitting, lacing up my boots to go to practice. Rob walks by and he goes, hey, what's up, Jesus? And I went, excuse me? He goes, Jesus. And Rob had this, he always talked with his hands and stuff, and he was always animated. He goes, that's right, you're going to be Jesus. And I went, no, I can't. Well, why can't you? Well, because I'm Christian. I go to church. I've been to Brazil. I've built churches. I don't know. I'm not going to be Jesus. No. And Kevin was on my side with that. He was just like, yeah, give the guy a break. He doesn't want to do it. Okay. So then up to my first show, I don't think a name was ever really decided upon. And when Guido, the guy, the ring announcer's name was Guido, he introduced me as Jesus. It was like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I can't. And I remember getting up to Guido and like, don't call me that. Don't call me that. And then the choice was either going to be the Savior or the Messiah. And at that point, I just said, I don't care as long as it's not Jesus. And then it was just Messiah. I mean, it was that simple. Or it wasn't like, I mean, for all I know, they flipped a coin, and that's how they came up with Messiah. And I never really had any gripes about the Messiah thing, only because, Messiah, people, they hear Messiah and they think it means Jesus, or it means God, or no, it means the chosen one. That's it. Just people, they always want to put their baggage on whatever it is, but it just means the chosen one. That's all.
Yeah.
And since then, there's been, I don't know. I mean, now Seth Rollins is the Monday Night Messiah. There's been, the technical Messiah, Alex Shelley. There was Redneck Messiah, Jamie Noble. What was it? The Messiah, the Backbreaker. So like, and people ask me if I get mad with that. I'm like, I don't just, make $1 million with it. Go for it. I always hated the name. Go for it, man. Make $1 million with it.